All right, and team, welcome back. Welcome back to the Scratch Record podcast. We are joined today by Home Counties. How are we, lads?
Very well. How are you?
Yeah, chilling, mate. Chilling. Very, very good. We're nice to be back recording now.
Yeah, it's been we've kind of recorded loads and then had a bit of a gap. So we were putting on a festival and stuff like this and had a big gap, and then now we've kind of scheduled loads more podcasts back in again. But it's weird to get back into it, but also really good. It's what we started this whole thing with, so it's nice to get back into it and be chatting to bands. That's what we like doing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's about, mate.
Yeah, I saw you guys did something at Truck Festival, didn't you?
Yeah, we did do. Yeah, that was when was Truck Festival?
So long ago now. Yeah,
was it
August or July or?
Yeah. So we went there and got invited there as influencers.
Quite.
No, they asked us to come do some filming for them and some recording behind main stage, which is really sick. It was a really, really cool experience. And then the same company have asked us to go live at Leeds, which is this weekend. Well, next weekend, but this weekend when it comes out.
Yes. I was trying to wait. But yeah, which is cool. So yeah, that was good. It was useful because then we got loads of content in the space of a day, and then that sorted us out for like a few weeks. So we were like, that's great. And then yes, now we've got like shit to start recording again. That's all good.
Yeah, I saw you guys had courting there, didn't you?
Yeah,
we did indeed. Yeah. We had a good chat with them. We've been trying to get something sorted with them for ages, to be fair, for like 2 years, but never quite made it work. And then that's why festivals are so good, because you know everyone's going to be there, so it's so easy to be like, just pop over for 20 minutes, and we managed to get a lot of people in that way. So yeah, it was nice. It's decent.
How's everything been with you lot then? What have you lot been up to recently?
We've been having a bit of a break, to be honest, but we started writing. We haven't really written anything for like a year, I think.
Yeah, definitely dusting off some old demos. We just got back about a month ago from a tour with the Psychedelic Porn Compass, which is maybe one of the bigger tours we've done.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that was kind of like a nice definitive end to like that kind of summer of touring and like gigging. So it seemed like in a pretty appropriate time. As soon as we got back, it was like, I think we're all like leering to change some of the songs and like get some new material out. So that's what we're working on at the moment.
Sick. How was touring with Psychedelic Porn Crumpets? What was that like?
Yeah, sick.
Yeah, it was really great. They're a very funny bunch of guys. It was also just like some of the shows were just like in cities we'd played before, but maybe had smaller crowds before, like on our headline tour.
Yeah.
Suddenly, like we're playing all these sold out shows in like O2 academies and stuff, which was just crazy. Especially like some cities like Birmingham, we'd never really had an amazing show before. And then suddenly, we had like sold out Friday night at the O2 in Birmingham.
Oh, sick.
And it was just like people moshing to us, which is, haven't had moshing in a while.
What are the crowds like for the supports? Because I think there's been a big movement, obviously, like over the last few years, like just before COVID and after, of like people paying more attention to supports and that whole like support the support thing and getting down early. Like every gig I've been to recently, it's rammed for the support acts, no matter who they are. I think people are getting into like fucking just going no matter what and checking them out. So how did you find it?
Yeah, I think we got very, very lucky. I mean, as you say, like I think there's definitely been an uptick of people paying more attention to like the support bands. I think especially for bands like Psychedelic Porn Compass that have kind of come so far, it's almost interesting to see who gets paired on the bill.
Mm.
And I don't know, maybe we certainly surprised some people maybe with us.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like the crowd was pretty, because they're like quite a rocky band, like psychedelic-y. So people thought we were like people who don't necessarily listen to bands of our persuasion. Like they thought we were really original.
Well, I've never heard anything like this. It's like,
since Talking Heads in like 1981, it's like, well, you have not been.
Yeah. 86.
No, it was great. It's nice to have a different crowd and like different people were like more interested in different bits of the music, maybe quite very receptive, and they also bought loads of merch,
Nice, which is
Fucking
everything. The
perfect.
cash cow.
which is always good.
How does it work on a tour like that? Not to get like nothing specific, but I always wonder this. Like, do they pay you to essentially just cover costs of you going round, and then you try and like get some merch back and try and get some growth back? Because it's quite a big ask for you lot to like go round on a whole tour, isn't it? It's quite a lot of your time and
It's pretty tight margins with
yeah, I bet it is.
like it just about covers the fees, just about cover travel, I
Yeah.
would say. Probably not even accommodation, and then you basically make losses except for merch, and then merch can sort of bring you up to a small profit.
But what's quite interesting is that from what we've seen, basically anyone who plays the UK as a touring band makes a loss. So even I think even headline bands that are like from countries, when they come to the UK, they make a loss. But obviously you make that loss for playing, it's worth playing the UK. But it's such a stark contrast to when you're playing the UK to when you play Europe.
Yeah.
They really treat you like royalty, and it's
compared to like I think there's a lot more government funding in the arts in, for example, like the Netherlands. I know they're about to cut it a lot, but like the fees there, like you get paid like €1,000 for a show, and then they give you like a 3-course meal and like unlimited bar tab.
Yeah, and
Fucking hell.
It's actually quite embarrassing because they only serve alcohol generally, or the places we played in like 250ml, like half pints. Basically.
Yeah.
So when you go on stage, or like when you want to get a round in, you don't want one, you want like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then doing that for a whole band, it means that before we did a show in the Netherlands, we had to go up to the bar and we were like, can we have some beers when we go on stage? And they're like, sure, how many? And we had to say like 16
Each.
I've never seen someone roll their eyes so hard. They're like, they're just
like how long are you going to be on stage for?
And then literally like these fucking British people coming over. For fuck's sake.
We had it when we played Paris as well. Like we did a sound check, and like the guy looking after us was like, "Do you guys want a beer? You're British, of course you want a beer." That's true, but
yeah. I'm not sure I like that.
It's an assumption, but you are right. I would like a beer.
It's just seeing like all the other UK bands. We played at Amsterdam the other day. For personal trainer like Willem Schmidt. Do you know personal trainer? Or like Pit Blom? They organised a festival.
Oh yeah.
But loads of UK bands, and you looked around the crowd, and there's like people from the Netherlands drinking little beers, and then you'd see all British bands, and they've all got fucking jugs.
That's fucking brilliant.
We'd all buy the jugs, and then like, because you're so like the first few sips, you're like, you're not that drunk, so you're like doing okay. But then the last bit, like, completely just waterboard yourself. Sure, the next one got this massive bib of just Stella. Oh,
You can't beat it.
it's shameful.
You can't beat it.
Yeah, it's shameful, but you had a good time. It's one of those ones where it's like we've all done shameful things, but looking back, they were good cracks.
Yeah, got it done.
It is interesting what you say about the UK as well. Like I saw the Snuts put a tweet out the other day, and obviously they've just released an album, and they're probably like doing one of the best of any UK band at the moment. And they said they reduced ticket prices to like as low as they could, but they were like, we're going to make a small loss on their like UK tours coming up. And that's a crazy thing for a band like that are pushing for a #1 album, but you can't make profit on a tour in this country. Like that is so backwards when you think about it.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And one of the weird things as well is somewhere like London is there's just so much music going on, and it's all like really interesting music. I think it might be like, it's just, I don't even know where you even start. It's just we seem to make so much music in this country that like I think venues they seemingly are getting away with like basically not paying and like just being quite poor to bands.
It's a different like cultural thing, isn't it? It's like how much worth is put on like being a musician as like a profession. It's like, it's very much, I think even, as you were saying, like big bands are still like making losses, and you have to, it takes so long before you can actually like stop working.
Yeah.
Oh mate, it's unreal, because it's like your actual like on like a business sense, like your streams of revenue as a musician should really, like the way you make money should really come from touring, because you don't get it from streaming. You get it from album sales, but that's again very, very fairly minimal in people actually buying albums now because of the streaming culture. And you also you don't make no money on touring. So the only thing you're actually ever making a profit on is merch. And if you want to do anything cool with your merch and do like really quite sick designs, you're also probably going to make a loss because of how your profit margins are so minimal because you cost so much to actually buy a unit in. So it's like when you actually think about it, like I work in like the influence in like social media and shit, and some of the money that they earn, and they're like, oh, I don't know how we're going to turn over more cash and how we're going to get more money. And you start looking at the stats, and they've got like just on the YouTube alone, they're earning a few thousand a month, and you're like, what? Sorry, what are you stressing for? These lads are out here like grafting their way through and not earning a fucking penny, and it's like it just is. I don't know. It feels so backwards. It feels so. I don't know whether we're ever going to get a proper shift with it anytime soon. I can't see anyone really looking to push it into a direction for it being more sustainable for especially up and coming and new musicians. But I don't know. It's such a strange thing. 'Cause it's like people understand when you're like a real small first starting off band, like playing for nothing or like just getting your name out there and stuff. But there does come a point where if arguably one of the biggest bands on like in the UK at the moment, like the Snuts, are still making a loss on their tour, you start wondering like how does anybody
at what point can you give it everything? Like, it's fucking mental, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's all about, I guess, a balance with like work and everything. I mean, it's one thing is like that kind of sense of camaraderie, because basically every other musician we meet is also doing that exact same balance.
Yeah.
And whenever you bring it up, everyone's like, "Oh God, it's close,
Yeah,
it's
so-
tough."
I'm gonna lose my job.
Yeah, it's tough. It's that like you've got to work so hard on your job to get money, and then it gets in the way of the band, so you prioritise the band, and then you're like, yeah, I'm going to lose my job because all I'm doing is doing like music, and it goes both ways. It's a difficult one. I do think it's weird, like in the UK as well, that people obviously do want to go and watch music, and as you say, it's oversaturated, but there's a different view on it. Like we've found we're doing promotion stuff of if you try and charge more than £10 for anything, and we put like a mini festival on like 28 artists, and we wanted to charge like £15 to see like 9 artists in a day, and everyone in the industry was like, that's too much, it's too much, people won't pay it. But you're like, but like that, this works, but you have to get people to be willing to do it. Whereas like in Europe, like a lot of people who say they play in Germany and the Netherlands, you can charge whatever and you can be whatever band. People will just pay it and they'll go and they'll jump around and they'll get behind it and they love it. There's a bit more like, it's just very British, isn't it? It's a bit like, I'm not going to pay that. And when I do, I want it to be fucking amazing, and I want to know who they are and not just want to like, I think we're less free in going, yeah, I'll just pay it and I'll go in and I'll experience a new band that I've never heard of. It's much more, I want to know who they are and I want to pay nothing for it. And like, that's just.
Remember, we played this festival in Dunkirk, and it was called like Le Fete. And we turned up, and it was literally like a village fete, and it was funded by the local town. And they paid us fucking loads. But they had like loads of other British bands and then local bands and like bands from Belgium and stuff. But like no one in the crowd knew any of the bands, but people were just like,
They loved it.
there was people doing a conga for an artist.
For sure.
It was definitely quite strange, really great.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
We're going back to what you're saying about like getting British people to pay for gigs. I think one of our lowest moments was we trekked to down to a pub in Hackney to see our friends play, and then when we got to the door, we realised it was £10 tickets. So then we stood outside and watched them through the window. That was it's like our like best friends and like their band, and we're like really big fans. And it was like you get there like, what, £10?
£10
£10 on the door.
Yeah, literally there's that Jeremy Clarkson clip where he's like 13 quid.
yeah, for the fake watches or
yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. But well, we'll all try and fix the industry slowly but surely. But
Yeah, one day at a time.
It will take its time. It's just for the fucking old boys at the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Well, we have a section we normally start the episode with, but we're like 15, 20 minutes in.
yeah,
Like,
it's perfect.
so we have a section which is like a quick fire questions. So it's like we'll give you a question. It's relatively short, and then you kind of just give us the answer as sharp as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds daunting.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah. Well, that's the point. We need
Yeah.
TikTok clips.
Yeah. Just say the most horrific things that come into your head, and then we'll
Okay.
share it. So
Digging deep here.
Right. So, what's the best album?
Do you want to do? How about you do them and I do them? Is that way? Or was you saying at the
Light
same
of
time?
Gold, Parquet Courts.
Deluxe by Omni.
Oh,
Okay, interesting choices.
isn't it? Favorite pizza topping?
Salami.
Italian sausage.
Nice.
Night or day?
Night.
Night.
Go to drink in a pub.
Ale.
Lager.
Oh, worst act you've ever seen live.
Oh, like either Brian's Jonestown Massacre. They were terrible.
Yeah.
If I can say that. There's been a few.
Go on, name them all.
I saw Rachel Stevens when I was a youth at Party in the
Pretty
Park. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, God, I can't think. Some oldie. It's like the oldies, isn't it? Oh, I saw Hawkwinds, and they weren't very good. But they're like supposed to be from like the 60s. It was the one
Oh,
that Lemmy's
Lemmy.
band.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lemmy,
he was
yeah.
dead at the time, but
No wonder it wasn't very good.
is that okay? Yeah, those two. It's two.
Yeah, that's
That'll
good.
do the job. That'll do the job. Where are we? Shower or bath?
Shower.
Shower.
Yeah. Best social media account you follow?
Band meme 666.
Depth Wikipedia.
Fucking superb. What's the most overrated genre?
Shoegaze.
Pop punk.
Oh, like you say,
Got me deep,
that.
that.
Spicy
A
that.
lot of us in the band listen to quite a lot of pop punk.
Yeah, that got me deep, that one did. I listened to fucking quite a bit of pop punk. What's the best act you've ever seen live?
Fat White Family.
Yeah, Fat White Family.
Basically every single time.
Quality. And what's the most overrated artist?
Like Greta Van Fleet? Or like Drake?
Like fucking what are they called? Catfish in the Bottle.
Yeah, we have had that
We've had
a few
that before.
times. We
That
live
was
in
Court-
Sunny
that was
Chat.
Courtney's answer.
That was Corton's answer.
Yeah.
Great
Makes
mind,
sense.
Love it. I mean, that's all I've got written down.
Yeah, cool. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's funny. We'll get some stuff in there.
Big ones.
Yeah,
It's hard.
that's a good question. What about you guys? Do you have any like particularly shit gigs?
Oh, I've been to so many gigs.
Yeah, a few. I always go for the Coral because I was quite excited to see them because they got such classic songs and they were fucking terrible. Like
Yeah.
unable to play their own music, and I was really disappointed.
No.
Yeah, which was a bit of a shame. But I don't know. It's not as interesting because they're a bit older anyway. It's not really gives a shit. But we go. The thing is, we go to a lot of like up and coming artists that we go to because we think they're good. So it'd be weird if they were then really shit.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen that often.
I can say my most the worst actual gig I've been to. I don't think the band were bad. I think the band was really good, but the atmosphere was one of the strangest things I've ever been to in my life. And Feet played a library in Coventry.
Oh, that was on their tour with Bull, wasn't it?
Yeah, I went to that one. So I went to the Bedford Squires show, and then I saw them put a story up, and like Coventry's not that far away from us, and I wasn't doing nothing. So we drove up and went, and I've never felt more. You know when you stand there and you don't know what to do with your arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of them days. I stood there and I was like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this. And one kid just kept. Well, there was like one kid because I think it was a 14 plus because it was a library, so it had a lot of like kids.
It's got a kids section, isn't it?
Yeah, like it had a lot of kids in it, and that made it strange because the kids they're all lockdown kids, so they all obviously turned like 17, 18 during lockdown. So they didn't really know how to act, and it was like there was a couple of lads that looked like they were out of the in-betweeners. You know, you wear like the shirts and the tie, and their hair was like gelled down and spiky at the back. I was like, I feel like I've gone back in time. What's I'm not sure. I feel like I'm back in like 2008. I don't like this.
We had a weird show in Coventry once. You know Casbah?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys cleared out a club.
Yeah, because it's weird because they have gigs on, but there's also like it's all like you can either go to the gig or go to the club or
It's a weird. I mean, Coventry's a weird place anyway. But
Coventry's a
Casbah's weird
strange place.
Place. We went. I went to an ABBA night at Casbah, and that was great. But you know,
Can't go wrong with that.
have you done the ring roads around it? Have you like driven on it?
What, Coventry?
Yeah, like the raised ring roads
Oh, that's
that's
cool.
around it.
I've only like one bit. I try and avoid Coventry at all
Yeah,
costs.
Yeah, but that is it's like a raised ring road, like straight out like the 60s, 70s. It's a 40, so it's like you're already like going above like all this, the city, and everyone's gunning it on this really tiny, constantly turning ring road. It's scary.
I actually
Yeah.
think Coventry's sick. Like
You love it, don't
I
you?
love the post-war list.
They just-
Demolished town.
Yeah, towns that never quite got back up on their feet.
Too much.
That one time we played in Coventry,
And you loved
I was
it.
like, wow.
It's a weird one because it's got a weirdly good music scene. Like, it's got really good venues. That HMV Empire is a really
Yeah,
good
it's
venue.
quality venue.
And they put on really like good gigs, and they've also got like the arena as well, where like people tend to play. Like I think it ticks a Midlands box for a lot of bands, so a lot of people play there. But it's a
It's a
shit.
historic place. It's like two-tone and stuff was all from Cov, wasn't it?
What's two-tone?
Like the specials and stuff.
Yeah, there's no the
Yeah,
ghost.
yeah.
That's literally about Cov.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it is a cool place. I mean, basically, like it's weird when you get to the Midlands and you can so much of like surrounding cities kind of like look towards Birmingham for like their cultural identity or whatever. So you can really tell that they're all like deeply rooted.
Mm.
But keep going and keep going
Yeah.
north.
Yeah. I also hate Birmingham. I think Birmingham's a shit.
I wasn't going to say it explicitly, but
Yeah.
I like
Sure.
after that good show.
yeah, that good show.
Yeah.
That was yeah. When we did the O2, that was really good. But we there was right next to the venue. There was like this really nice burger place, and they like had loads and loads of different like size burgers. And obviously, you're like mildly hungry and had a few drinks. You just go for the biggest one, which was like 2 or 3 patties, loads of like fillings, and then like chips and a hash brown, like inside the.
Oh my god.
So it was,
Fucking
like,
hell.
this big, and I wasn't even hungry, and they just like served it up, and it was just like you just have to like push through
Got it then. You got to get your head down. Get it finished.
and everything, like sweating into it.
I love
Yeah.
Midlands food culture. We spent quite a lot of time in Ashbourne in Derbyshire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's we wrote it's one of the songs on the EP Ad Gammon, which is about this one kebab shop where like you could anything on the menu you could add a gammon for £1, like a gammon.
They just dish it out.
It's insane.
That's fucking quality. It's got that like northern feel, but it's just a bit weirder. It's like when they just kind of batter everything and do whatever you want, but they just all the rules go out the window in the Midlands. I think can't do what they want.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's very like it's very isolated, but it's like when we were driving back from Manchester maybe, and we were like really really hungry, and there's this like the Ad Gammon place is the only place that's open at that time for food. But we were checking and it said online it closed at 11, and this must have been like 1:30. So we're like, there's no chance. But we ring them and we say like, are you open by chance? They're like, yeah, of course. Like for some reason they just stayed open, and we like were so hungry that we like gunned it, and then like basically arrived at this place, like parked the car in the middle of the road, left all the doors open, all like ran in. Half of our band weren't even wearing shoes.
I just want gammon on everything, please.
Gammon, please.
Superb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the Midlands. I find most of it really odd.
Yeah, it is fucking odd, and that's why like we're trying to help Northampton because it's got a good scene, but it's just I don't know, trying to find an identity for these places like random towns all through like the Midlands, and there's like
They all had identities. Everything's
Yeah.
got history, and it's just like it's all just dwindled off.
it
Like
was melted. As I said, people have just slowly started spreading to like from us. It's all like straight into London. As I said, then Birmingham and
It's similar.
everywhere else. It's like there's nothing left here now. It's just a bit of a weird one.
Where I'm from, like originally, I grew up like around Aylesbury in Bucks.
oh yeah.
We used to have like in the 70s, it was the Fries Club, and it was like it's the place where David Bowie first did Ziggy Stardust, and the Clash used to come through it. There was this grassroots like music club where they had the best bands on, constantly touring. And now Aylesbury's just got like nothing, like any cool stuff, because it's all just people just go to London for gigs or Oxford.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's so surprising when you look back at like the oldies, and you look at like the venues that the Who or Jimi Hendrix are playing. It's not like London, Oxford, Manchester, Birmingham like it is now. It's literally like a working men's club in like North Sheffield, and then like it's all like the Unitown gigs as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in like weird like uni halls and everything. I went to York, and actually, like, our main hall was built in the early '60s, and it was called Hendrix Hall because Hendrix played there.
That's fucking sick.
Sick.
It's so yeah, it is weird. Like, so we've got Roadmender, haven't we? Like, Roadmender's quite an iconic venue that fucking every man and their dogs played. And then we had it's now the Jesus Centre, isn't it, on the corner,
Yeah.
where the Beatles played there before they were the Beatles when they played under the name before. What was the name before?
Silver Beetle or the Quarrymen.
The Quarrymen, that was it. Yeah, they played there and the Quarrymen, and then Roadmenders had every man and their fucking dog's been there. Whereas now it's like
club nights.
yeah, it's like Trevor Nelson plays there like four times a year, and then you get like a special.
It was like Basement Jaxx played like last year, and that was like the biggest thing it's ever happened.
Oh my wow.
Yeah, so it's a shame, but it all comes back around, I guess, doesn't it? So
it's cyclical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully it
so.
gets fucking better.
I'm from St Albans, and we have the Horn, which is really good because it's literally gigs, 3 bands on every single night. So when I was first joining bands, like immediately you can start playing in front of audiences and your friends and stuff. But they do cover bands. So like you can go, and the cover bands are like, these people that have been in these. I didn't realize that most cover bands, they've been in them for like decades. So generally they're like better at being the band than the actual band is. Like there's this one called the Smiths, which is like a Smiths cover band.
Yeah.
They've been going for over 30 years. The Smiths were only active for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Like they're better versions of the Smiths than like the Smiths will ever be.
That's fucking brilliant. And probably practice more than the real bands ever would have done as well.
Yeah,
because
easily.
They treat it more like a full-time job, don't they? And fucking practice every day.
It's like Oasis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oasis plays, and they are fucking huge. They played in Rushden at a bowls club, right? In Rushden, there's like a charity. They do like charity events at a bowls club. They played Rushden, and then the next week they'd sold out Ellen Road in Leeds.
Wow.
And like, in a week's time, they've done like 400 people at Rushden, and then Ellen Road the next week, which is like fucking 20,000 or something stupid. And you're like, you're a cover band.
Yeah, what the fuck?
What is this happening?
Yeah.
Was your first London show?
We supported the Antarctic Monkeys in this.
Oh,
Fucking
And our mate Ollie was in the crowd, and when the Antarctic Monkeys were playing, and there was a bit in Are You Mine where they stop, and my friend Ollie just shouted like, "You're better than Alex Turner." To God, a tear rolled down his eye. He like had one of those like classical guitar, the things you put your leg up on, a classical guitar stand sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
His foot on the monitor. He had a special like stand to put his foot on to like
rock out.
Yeah. They were great though. They're fucking.
It's the
so
real.
tight,
It's
yeah.
the real
It is.
deal. No, yeah,
They're
big,
way
big
better.
fan. Yeah.
I mean, you are literally like, once you've had 3 or 4 pints, it could be them, it could not be. You're never going to know, are you? So it's like, shut your eyes and sing along, and it's just as good.
That's something they were saying. They said they got offered a show in Japan, and they'd come through from their agent. They were going to pay them like £100,000 or something.
Oh my
They were like, should we take it?
Yes. There is no doubt about that. I'd be on that plane straight away. 100 grand
Yeah.
to pretend to be someone else.
True.
Sounds
Easily,
perfect.
yeah.
Especially when it's £80 to see the real Arctic Monkeys, did you say?
Oh my god, what do you lot think about that? Because I've got quite. You are.
Is it probably? I thought it'd be much more than £80.
Well, I thought it wasn't. I thought it was as expected. I thought it'd be about that to see him, to be fair.
I see. I don't really agree with seeing like.
Yeah. We paid, 70 quid to see
Yeah,
the
it
new
was-
sound system in Brixton?
Yeah, and that was not actually that good of a gig.
No, it was too.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
I've heard that about a few people. Like our mate went to see 50 Cent in London and paid £80 to see 50 Cent and said it was shit. He did like 30-second remixes of all his songs and like merged them together and played for like 35 minutes and then got off, and everyone was like, "What the fuck was that?" Like,
It was definitely a bitter pill to swallow because it was just at the beginning of summer when all the day festivals happening, and we had like, in East London we have All Points East every Friday, and that like each day of that was like King Gizzard or Nick Cave or Gorillaz or Tame Impala. Like there's so many good bands, and each day was like 60 quid.
yeah,
And that's what that.
Tough pill to swallow.
I know that is my biggest trouble with like Arctic Monkeys being that much money and like it. And all these bands charging 80, 90 quid for their arena tours and shit. And then, you pay for a 1 day pass at fucking Reading and Leeds, and it's like 75 quid, and you get to see bands from like 10 in like 11 in the morning all the way through till midnight, and you just think, in my head, I just can't compute it. Do you know what I mean?
It's nuts.
I wonder who's like the most expensive like touring artist. I bet it's like Madonna. Or, like,
Yeah, someone like that.
Harry Styles is pretty expensive. Fleetwood Mac a few years ago was, I think Denzel, my flatmate, paid like 200 quid or something for a ticket.
Jesus.
Like resale, but like,
Well, like with
crazy.
who's what like without Lindsey Buckingham?
I don't
So
know.
just Stevie Nicks and like the rest of them.
The rest of them.
It was like the best gig of my life.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I know that going to see that Queen with Adam Lambert is like £300 a ticket.
Jesus Christ.
That's really expensive.
That is. But to be fair, if you're gonna try and relive the Queen experience, I saw the videos. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
This is the issue. It then sells out, so like you can't argue with it.
You can't, no,
Monkey
true.
City just went, so
Yeah.
fair enough. They've priced it well. People were.
I
You
bet
pay
Ellen
it.
was expensive as well. But I would love to see or like Billy Joel. Those would be great.
Yeah, they would be worth it. The thing is about the Monkeys, like they obviously haven't released an album for like 5 years. It could be God knows how long before they release an album and do proper tours again. So it's like
Yeah.
you do have to grasp those opportunities.
Yeah,
I suppose,
true.
don't you? Like it's not like they charge 80 quid, but then they're playing everywhere every year, and you can go see them. Like
Yeah.
it's a rare thing. So.
Because now they're doing the shows again. Like when like they did Reading and Leeds and like a million clips of them playing came up. It was actually maybe like it kind of put me off in a lot of ways because he's just leaned so much further into that like whole sleazy thing. And when he does like the old songs, like Rid to the Rebel, he's still singing them last night. These two bouncers.
Yeah.
It's like,
He's proper lent into it now, isn't he? But I don't know. It's a weird one, but I think it's always you got to look at price points. But then as soon as people pay it, you have to go. Hold your hands up and go. Fair enough.
But the worst one I've seen have you seen all that stuff about Ian Brown on Twitter?
oh my god, yeah, the karaoke.
Fucking that looks shit. I can't that now. I'm all for it.
I would actually think I'd love to
Top
see that.
dollar.
It's so expensive.
Doing Stones,
so out of
is he
shape.
doing Stones' songs?
I think so. Is he? I don't know.
No, I think it's mainly solo stuff. I think he
Yeah,
does
it's pretty
one
much-
or two, but it's mainly solo.
He's all a strange guy, isn't he? Is he anti-vax?
Oh, he's
I would
anti
imagine
fucking
so.
everything, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. he's-
But, to be fair, that's always one of those things that it's a story in it that you were there.
Yeah, but like it's like what, 45 quid. He comes on no band, sings some shit karaoke, and the videos look like he didn't do it well.
No.
And you
that's
think
it.
like he was absolutely shit faced. And I'm like, I'm all for a good cash grab, but there's like moral ones and immoral ones, and that feels wrong. That does feel wrong.
So for sure.
Yeah. Liam Gallagher backed him though.
What did he say?
Yeah, no shit.
He's like legends.
Legend.
Yeah.
That's fucking good. Nick Gallagher doesn't know where he is half the time either, so you got to take these things with a pinch of salt.
Oh, one of my favorite, like in the van, like something that's been repeated so much is that one clip of him playing a festival and he's singing Wonderwall. Oh no, he's singing Morning Glory or whatever, and he gets like flooded in a plume of smoke from a smoke machine, and mid lyric he's like, turn that fucking smoke machine off. And
Yeah.
like the lyrics are like, I didn't know these were the words. Like,
What the
I missed that. Pay attention to this song, I guess.
My favorite one is I can't remember the song when he's singing it, and then he's like, "I've got all these things I want to say to you," but then he changed the lyrics. And he's like, "But I don't speak Spanish."
And then when it goes,
Yeah, it's
oh,
fucking quality. Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
love
say better to see that.
if like Ian Brown's just doing the same thing of just like completely like stop giving a shit to the maximum, where now your gigs are just like TikTok fodder, then I'm all for that.
That's the way the world's going. That's the way the world's going, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is indeed.
Well, moving on, we should probably squeeze in a little bit of chat about your actual band because
Yeah.
you are in one. So I think we want to chat a little bit about the EP really, and just get your kind of thoughts on the processes behind it, some of the influences for it, and kind of describe it to people that might not have heard it.
Sure.
So God, it feels like ages ago writing it. But it was like compared to like our first EP Redevelopment, which was like we recorded live in a room, like facing each other basically. A lot of the vocals were live and stuff. We wanted to make something which is a lot more considered and a lot more like electronic. So, and we did like a couple singles like Modern Yuppies and White Shirt Clean Shirt before the EP. Just getting really into synths and like particularly like really cheesy shit sounding synths. So I think like when we started the EP, it was like a semi merging of those two, like the sort of more lively stuff, like full band stuff, and that experimentation with like synths. Who were we listening to at the time?
It's always, I mean, like the heads, like Talking Heads have always kind of been there in the background. Like we're always like massive fans. But I suppose maybe just like from this last tour when we've been like talking to people that have seen us, like that's one of the influences people seem to reach to first. They seem like, I think that you can maybe hear a bit of that. But like to be honest, like it's a lot of 80s stuff and a lot of maybe early 2000s as well. Like there's a lot of, I think, pop from that time that's like kind of been forgotten. And it's weird because when obviously it wasn't that long ago, like 2012, which was a long time ago, but at the time, like that stuff was considered cringe or out of date or just like cheesy. But now it's been like enough time where like looking back at that stuff there's actually a lot of good ideas going on. There's a lot of like really interesting, like authentic stuff. So I think that those two kind of periods are maybe like some of the focal points that we've like drawn from.
Yeah, especially like, so I think I was listening like when we put our like set list together, sometimes we like listen to the songs just to see the order. And I listening to a song like the Home Counties, like the intro sounds a bit like it could be like the year 3000 or something.
Yeah.
It's quite like
Yeah,
which is
it's so like full and like the melodies are just being hammered into you.
Yeah. And then like lyrically, it was sort of like just talking about like I did at uni, I did history, and I got really obsessed with like the history of just like small towns and like everyday life and like meaningful moments in like the mundane. So the whole thing was like themed around like growing up in a small town basically and the different experiences which you get. So yeah, quite a lot of it around the home counties. Like I think we were trying to like talk about, because we like called ourselves Home Counties originally, and there was no real like addressing of like none of the songs on the first EP were particularly centered around that theme. So this EP was just like full on exploration of what Home Counties is as a band, and then also just like experience, like I said earlier about that song Ad Gammon, like of touring around the country and seeing different places, and yeah, the small towniness and like the isolation, but also it's not really as like a critique, but as like a discussion and sort of like a celebration in some cases.
Yeah, I think like definitely that it kind of took its inception with buying some new toys, because like I say, the first EP was quite guitar centric, and like I think all the bands we've been in before that have all been very guitar centric, and it's been quite surprising how just when you start, even if you are really trying to be as different as possible and push away from your influences, you can be quite surprised about how the most intuitive thing you'll come up with on those instruments really is in the same box and like the same attitude and ethos. And it became quite apparent that like the next EP we were going to do, like the one we just, the Middle English Town, before we wrote it, it was kind of evident that if we didn't try and embrace some more interesting instruments, then we would worry that it might just kind of be a little bit too in line with what we had done before. So I definitely think like embracing like Sims, actually physically buying them and like toying around with them has proved like really fruitful. But then obviously since doing that, like we've got to know them a lot better. So I think whatever we're doing next is going to be hopefully a bit more like sophisticated, as ambitious use of the Sims maybe and the new instruments.
Is that your plan then for the next one? Is kind of getting a little bit more ambitious, going using the synths? Is that where you're looking at directing your writing? Have you started writing then, or are you like taking a little bit of a break beforehand?
We've got about 10 songs loosely.
Oh,
wow. A lot of it's basically just like proper pop.
Nice.
Like, it's not as, we've lost a lot of the wonky guitars and stuff. It's still like. It's still definitely a lot of.
It's still us.
It still sounds like Home Counties, but yeah, we've also had a new member join called Lois, who does a lot of singing, and it's sort of just breaking away from just me going like wah and like that, that sort of delivery, and making something a bit more melodic. And
Yeah, I think like maybe just when you first start getting into stuff and you start learning about like what else is happening, and especially in the UK, you start seeing that there are these kind of like trends that seem to be, people are exploring like post-punk or whatever. And like I think we found us almost, I think quite naturally, like in line with a lot of that a while ago. But I don't think that actually in the projecting towards the future that we actually can put ourselves shoulder to shoulder with a lot of what's going on there. In terms of like like you say, like we're really excited about things like more pop driven melodic stuff, and like still using our what we've got experience at the moment, but then like pushing ourselves in a bit more of a new direction that's a bit more us.
No, I like that. And I think that like even like we've mentioned Korn a lot, but with their album, like we're both quite pleasantly surprised by it, because nearly none of those songs aligned with a lot of what they were doing before. Like the album felt very much like they're like, yeah, we've nailed a lot of that post-punk stuff, like we can do that. Here's an album of everything else we can do on loads of different genres and different spectrums. And I think like it's good to push yourselves in the direction of see what feels right and try out loads of different things, and like just
definitely
mash it all together and see what you get.
that album, I love that Corey album.
Yeah, I do as well. I love it.
It's fucking brilliant.
The production's just insane. I remember sending us it.
Yeah,
It was like, and that was when they were still doing like they just finished the EP.
Yeah,
and they're sending us these songs. It was like, oh my god,
yeah,
like so crushed and so like
brittle.
interesting.
Yeah.
Also, it was the first time I'd seen them with their fucking called auto tune.
Oh yeah.
And just thought
really?
it was because they never used to use it, but they saw him. Where were we playing?
In
Leicester. And live, it really works so well. It's such an interesting creative use of something which you associate with like shit pop music. But I think it really works. I think it's such a great album.
Yeah.
It really captures I feel like that album really captures the sound it's trying to portray. Do you know what I mean? Like when it comes to all the artwork surrounding it and that like shiny metal, is how I keep describing it. It reminds me of like aluminium and like like how like our Gorillaz do the whole like the futuristic towns
like
and stuff, dystopian, but theirs is all based from like being, I guess, like downtrodden in that era, whereas like I feel like Courtney got this, like it could be like an iRobot album or something. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it could suit that really, really well.
Yeah, no, that's great. And they're such like lovely boys as well. We're very lucky to like get to bump into them and like talk with them. They're literally some of the nicest guys, kind of out there doing this stuff.
Yeah, Colin, I like that. So this time, if we sat down with you this time in 12 months, what would you want to have achieved in that time? What's your goals over the next year?
I hope we'd have finished an album.
Yeah,
album. Nice.
Yeah, album. That's definitely like the biggest project on the horizon. But I think going off the back of what we did on our last tour, I think it would be great to have like the next shows that we're doing are, I don't know, we can definitely, I want us to be able to like maximize the venues and the opportunities we get. Like I think when we first started that tour, it felt literally like we've been plucked from like a pub back room and suddenly put onto these like massive stages. So it'd be great if we could like really, kind of grow into ourselves a little bit in those settings, and like kind of more like I think memorable live show would be good.
100%. I like it. Well, if you ever want to play in Northampton, then you just let us know, and I'm sure we can. We'll find a decent venue for you.
Absolutely. If you want to do the whole like more memorable live shows, the best one that I've ever seen. Have you ever seen Panic Shack live?
No, I don't know. Do you know Panic Shack?
No.
Right. Panic Shack. They're like a female punk band, post-punky sort of style thing. And they're a little bit on like the heavier side. And they have a dance routine for some of their tracks, and it's fucking quality. They went on tour with Buzzard, and we saw them at Bedford, and they've got it's a song about like they've got a song called like "Where's My Lighter," and the lyrics like mate, the lyrics literally like "Where's my lighter? I'm gonna fight you. It was a clipper. I'm gonna clip you." It's like the lyric. But they're like they've got this like dance routine that goes along to it, and it's fucking incredible. I was like, I stood there, and I really enjoy them as a band. And I hadn't seen them yet, and I was buzzing to go see them. And I saw that, and I was like, fucking incredible. It was like a cheesy like ABBA dance moves and stuff, but it fucking sits with you. I was like, that is memorable.
Have you seen Lynx?
No, not yet. I really want to see Lynx.
So good.
Yeah, phenomenal. But it's the same kind of nature. They do like phenomenal dance routines, and it's, I don't know, once you've seen a band do it, you do realize that like there is just like a whole element that you're just like, you know, like once you see something like that, it's like that is just a lot more exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are you saying next year?
You gotta do dance.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
Full routine, home county's routine.
Calves, but we'll get that.
If you play Northampton, it's going to be part of our contract that we
Yeah,
get at
you
least
have to do
one
dance
song
routine.
dance routine.
We'll have a bit of Ian Brown karaoke as an opener.
Perfect.
Good.
Oh yeah, we got a bit of a dance.
We do a little dance routine. We do a bit of status quo in on one song.
There you go.
And like we joked about it in the green room, like in like, you know, the most half-assed kind of way. But now, whenever we are playing, if we accidentally make eye contact, we suddenly start both doing like a guitar in time. And
Love it.
now that was like a few jokes, but now it's every gig.
It's
Just
just
like stamp that out, really.
it starts off ironic, and then you're like, oh no, we're just doing this every show. That's
It's like accidentally when you start smoking or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, accidentally. I know the fame. Yeah, when you actually inhale and it becomes a habit. Love it. Right.
I'd be well game to play in Northampton.
Yeah, I would too, mate. Bring it on. We did a show in Halifax, and that was, honest to God, one of the best ones we've done. I think like
really.
there's such, I don't know, like just generally places that aren't like so densely kind of focused on music as like, you know, like Birmingham and London, whatever. They seem to be a lot more like appreciative and enjoying. They're just there to enjoy it. Like some gigs you go there and everyone's there like kind of studying it, which is awful. But like you can find a lot of places where like people are there just to have a good time.
Yeah.
And those are the best.
Yeah. Northampton's great when you get people there. Once you get people there, it's brilliant. It's getting people there that's the hard part. But that's what we're doing. So that's okay.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. That's our job. That's our job. Fill the room. Fill the room. Literally. Right. Well, we've got two more little sections. They're only little. First one is, what does music mean to you? It's kind of our roundup question that we're doing. What does music mean to you, lads?
You can do that one.
Oh no. I don't know. I think music's quite a social thing, personally, and I think that there's. I don't think you could ever put a reason on why you necessarily enjoy something. I mean, you can like say what you enjoy about it, but like any deeper than that, it's kind of just an intuition, and it's nice to share that intuition with other people.
Yeah, music's I think especially like our friendship group, it's just been the way this is the way I know basically all of my friends.
Yeah.
And it's just like the common language in which everything is done through and everything's been shaped. So,
and it's when a new band come in, it will just like proliferate, and then it's, you know, there's just completely, it's just so rare that we would find something that not everyone would at least listen to or take seriously. You know, I think, yeah, like you say, it's a common language.
I like that.
Lovely.
I like common language. I think that's brilliant. And then to round up the show, we do, I guess, a shouting out section where we kind of give a platform to a band that we're listening to at the moment that we don't think gets the publicity that it deserves. So is there anyone that you lot are listening to at the moment that you really want to give a proper shout out to?
Shout out to Ian Brown.
Yeah, shout out to the guy.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Right.
it's a tough week.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, as you say, like Courting, absolutely love Courting. And you mentioned Feet as well. Feet are really good friends of ours, and I think what they've been doing is like phenomenal. And
their new single's brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic. They're all such nice people, and they work so hard. I think also I would say Bull, who was doing that show. Like their Barn and I, the keyboard player, knew them from when we went to uni in York, which was
Okay.
Oh wow.
or something. And since then, like they went for like playing kind of pub backrooms to doing massive. They're supporting Pavement in like a month or something, and they have just not changed. You know, they're just still the nicest, friendliest people, and they just they do the shows like as best, you know, like to the maximum, and every single one's enjoyable. And I think that's really hard to do.
Yeah. I'd shout out Personal Trainer.
Yeah.
Personal Trainer from Amsterdam. They're doing a UK tour coming up now. Some great small venues.
Yeah.
They're a great band, 7-piece, the most fun band to see.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
7-piece.
Seven, so many people to orchestrate.
Yeah.
But they're good because they're like really deep into that like Netherlands scene, because they share a lot of, well, they are all, them and Pip Blom and Can Sugar Pie, they used to be around, and Steve French, like all these really, really good bands that are all, you know, they'll all just be sat around a pub table together. You know, they're all really good friends. So shout out to them.
Shout out Prima Queen as well.
Yes.
Queen, yeah.
Prima Queen.
I think I had the name rings a bell. I couldn't picture a song, but the name does ring a bell.
They've got a new song out which is doing really well called Eclipse, and they're just really nice people.
Yeah.
Great live band.
Really hardworking.
They've got the big tunes.
Big tunes.
They're going to be massive.
Yeah.
Sick.
Nice.
I like it.
Joe, you got any?
I want to mention Lee Objective's new song,
Yes.
The Dance You Sell, I think, which is brilliant. It's one of their better ones, I think. It's one I haven't listened to it as much as I want to, but I literally heard it, and they did really good with their promotion, and I was excited to listen to it. It is really good, but them in general, they're another one that when people say like, who do you think is going to be big? I think they're going to be massive. Like everything they're doing is really good, and they're still really young, and they're so good live, and they've got a really good back catalogue behind them already, which is crazy at the ages they're at. So
Yeah.
they're really good and well worth seeing anywhere. If they're playing live anywhere near you, go see them because they're really good. So yeah, The Objective.
Yeah. I'm going to shout out Dead Pony and their track All Dressed Up for Nothing, which I just fucking enjoy the sound of it. It's a little bit on the heavier side, but it's not too aggressive, and it kind of gets a bit of something going for you. I really like Dead Pony and what they're doing at the moment, and the artwork is just it's quite a unique style. Like it's very it's just very simple, and it kind of gets the point across, which I think is brilliant. So I think Dead Pony are ones to keep an eye out, and also the Hara. The Hara are a band that at the moment they're doing some pretty wild things, and I think his stage presence is very like not unique, but like unique for an up and coming band to have that much like confidence on stage. Like he wears like a leather skirt and like lots of like eyeliner and stuff, and he's got loads of tattoos, but it's not like the music isn't necessary. It's a bit like when Youngblood does it. Do you know what I mean? Like the music doesn't necessarily it's not like gothic. It's like still got that like punky element. The Hara have a little bit more. It's like that where it treads the line of like gothic and punk, and I quite enjoy that. I think their whole aura and their social media stuff I think is really sick. So yeah, they're the shout outs for today. Well, lads, thank you very much for coming on to talk with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks
It's been a lot of fun.
Anytime, man. Anytime. We'll definitely catch up again soon and hopefully get a show sorted. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we like that.
See you in Northampton.
Yeah, see you then.
100%. Cheers, lads. Well, if you're still listening, still watching, and still viewing, yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a rating, have a little buzz. The ratings are well important, so make sure you give it 5 stars and all that jazz. We had a meeting with Spotify and they told us, so get your asses on there and rate it. And we'll see you all on the other side. Peace.